Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय। निताई गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल। Hare Krishna. Welcome to this session on continuing with the analytical study of the soul and the body. So here we are continuing with verse Bhagavad Gita 2.21. Kindly repeat. वेदाविनाशिनं नित्यं
वेदाविनाशिनं नित्यं
य एनम् अजमव्ययम्
य एनम् अजमव्ययम्
कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ
कथं स पुरुषः पार्थ
कं घातयन्ति हन्तिकम्
कं घातयन्ति हन्तिकम्।
Translation: Upartha. Now, sorry. Upartha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immeasurable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Read the purport.
Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the codes of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So, for the administration of justice, so called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the person, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, again, another very nice verse. So, can somebody be killed, or nobody can kill someone? Neither we can kill some other person. We cannot be killed also. So, because the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable. This is what we are seeing. Again, Avinashi. So indestructible. We saw already Avinashi. So here again Avinashi. Veda Avinasinam. Veda Avinashinam Nityam. Nityam. Again is Nityam. Always existing. There is no termination for the soul or death for the soul. And he is Ajam. Unborn. Abhyayam is immutable. Again, it is mentioned. There is no change. Immutable. Immutable means changeable. Everything has its proper utility, and a man situated in complete knowledge knows how to. Very, very wonderful. This one statement is very, very important for us. That there are many things in the world, and what should we do with them? Should we renounce them, or should we be greedy for them? No, it has to be utilized properly. Anything detaching is not recommended, and attachment is also not recommended. Question may be asked, how somebody can be without attachment or with detachment? Detachment is also not recommended. Like Arjuna want to detach, but Krishna has made him fight the Kurukshetra war, and we all know that Mahabharata war happened. So one should not be detached, one should not be attached, rather utilize in the right context. So everything is for a proper utilization, and it has to be utilized properly. Now let us see one utilization like that. Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge. So somebody to be situated in complete knowledge, later in 4th chapter, we will see that the complete knowledge situation is possible by accepting a bona fide spiritual master, and not just accepting, but living under his guidance. When somebody takes the instructions and guidance based on the way shown by a bona fide spiritual master, is said to be in complete knowledge. What is the speciality of such a person? He neither detaches nor attaches. Rather, he knows the art of utilizing everything properly and where to apply for this proper utility. See here, everything has a proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how to wear and apply a thing for its proper utility. Now let us take the example here. In this case, Prabhupada is taking violence. So violence also has its utility. How to apply the violence? Listen, oh, you're a devotee, how can you be violent? How can Arjuna be violent? He is a devotee. Like that, a question may be asked. So Prabhupada clarifies this. Violence also, it's a utility. Unnecessarily, you don't use it. When one may be very well trained in military arts, but unless otherwise situation arises, one need not execute his talent. We may have many talents. It is not essential that you need to showcase. Just for showcase, you need to utilize the talent. Then it is misuse. When you don't have an appropriate situation. So what is the appropriate situation? That's also explained here. Violence also has its utility. How to apply violence rests in the person in knowledge. A person who is properly situated, only he can understand. One example is given here. For example, a judge is awarding a capital punishment to a murderer. He is a murderer. He has done brutal murder. So the justice is giving. He is asked, or he has done very, very abominable activity. So a punishment is given for him to be murdered. This prisoner has to be murdered. But the judge cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the code of justice. So similarly, Manu Samhita is the law book of mankind. It is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death. Murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life, he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. It's a mercy. If in the Manu Samhita, when a king is giving punishment to the prisoner, it's considered mercy. Why? Because if the king doesn't punish and that person thinks that nobody watched me, I have committed such a great sinful acts and nobody has watched me, the king, I have escaped out of the king's hand. Or the king leaves him in the name of so-called nonsense mercy. So-called nonsense mercy, that is. So he just leaves out of compassion, foolish compassion for the body. And the person leaves. Without Shastra, the compassion is a foolishness. The Shastra very clearly says, a man comes and begs to you, and you give money in the name of compassion. The man goes and drinks alcohol, or he womanizes, or he eats meat. That sin also will come to you. So we don't go due to mental feelings of compassion and all that. We go through Guru Sadhu Shastra. And there is a proper method of saving that man. We can give him prashadam. In this way, mental sentiments, there is no time for mental sentiments or no space for mental sentiments here because they are misleading. That sentiment only Arjuna had. Now Krishna is breaking. So in Manu Samhita, the law book of mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer. There are two sufferings. One is he will go to hell, and there the Yamadharmaraj punishment is so heavy compared to the punishment given by the king here. So if the man is escaping, thinking I have escaped the law, then he is going to suffer in the hell or in the next life. It's very dangerous. To get escape from the law is more dangerous than getting punished by the law, especially according to proper Manu Samhita. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer are actually beneficial. To that person, it's very beneficial. Right? Similarly, when a king, so that is a compassion. So the king ordering murder punishment is compassion. A foolish bodily concept, mental speculator cannot understand this. A foolish sentimental bodily, they first think that they are the body and then they talk about compassion. Then it's all wrong. Please be compassionate upon this murderer and please free my dear king, Karuna. Nowadays, they can actually request the judge to show some mercy. There is an application, mercy application in High Court. They can give it and say that to release the person from the punishment, even though he has committed very abominable activity. And if the king, in case releases him, then he will be caught by Yamaraja, or in the next life, he is going to suffer so much many times than what he is suffering in that punishment which is given by the king. So similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for a supreme justice. It's for a proper cause. So Arjuna is in bodily, he's crying because the body will be destroyed. So Arjuna, Krishna is removing that idea or that feeling of uneasiness. And thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna. So which is justice? Not that, okay, in the justified situation I used. That is a justified situation. No, this is a no. There is only one justified situation for Krishna. No other situation is considered justified. So, Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violent at all, because at any rate, man, or rather a soul, cannot be killed. And now Arjuna has to. So, for the administration of justice, so-called violence is permitted for justice purpose. This is one example. Another example, yesterday I told you about a military person. A surgical operation is not meant to kill a patient, but to cure him. Oh, how a surgeon is taking a knife and cutting a body. If somebody tries to cut your body, will you allow? But you're voluntarily giving money and going for a surgery and lying down there. Okay, cut me now. Right? Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna, especially at the instruction of Krishna. So utilization of any item in this world is under the instruction of Krishna or for the service of Krishna, then it is proper utilization. It is neither meant for our enjoyment, nor it is meant for our renunciation, because it doesn't belong to you. You can neither renounce anything in this world, nor accept anything in this world or enjoy, because it doesn't belong to you at all, but it belongs to Krishna. But you can do one thing, you can utilize it in the service of Krishna. Same way, the violence also, when required, it is to be used in the service of Krishna. Some examples are like, now Arjuna is asked to fight, and then he'll fight, and he really did a violent thing, put Bhishma in the arrow bed. Whom the same Bhishma for whom he didn't want to fight and go away from the warfield. And when Lord ordered, he just put the Bhishma in the bed of arrows. So therefore, the fighting to be executed in the instruction of Krishna. Another example is Hanuman. He showed a great anger and burnt Lanka for the purpose of Lord Ramachandra, not for our own purpose. Anger is considered sinful. Guru Maharaj mentioned that anger is sinful. So for one's own purpose, one should not become angry, but for the purpose of Krishna, for the service, Hanuman became angry and burnt the Lanka. So it is not, okay, the anger is very, very sinful, so I won't perform. Self-righteous anger, one should avoid. But at the same time, when it is one more place, the anger can be shown is where when Vaishnava is offended, when a pure devotee Vaishnava is being offended, then that is the right time to get angry. But the anger should not come in terms of emotion, but there is a methodology to deal with that anger, as mentioned by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Instruction. We will go through later. That we should either argue back when Vaishnava is offended, pure devotee is offended. And then second is, we should either, we cannot argue, then we should leave the place. And if we cannot leave the place also, we should suicide. Like that. So there is no possibility of sinful reaction when one is doing anything for Krishna. Anything you do for Krishna is devotional service. So here, as far as Arjuna is concerned, fighting is given in front of him, and that is the service which he is supposed to render. So there is no possibility of any sinful reaction, because Arjuna, one of the points where in the first chapter, we actually listed down the reasons which Arjuna is quoting for not fighting. So sin will overcome us. That is one of the reasons. So here Krishna is telling that sin will not overcome you. So here Prabhupada is giving a point that sin will not overcome Arjuna because he is fighting on the instruction of Krishna. Okay, we'll go to the next verse. Bhagavad Gita 2.22. Repeat. Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya.
वासांसि
यथा
जीर्णानि यथा विहाय
Navani grihnati naroparaani.
नवानि
नवानि गृह्णाति
कृत्यानि
नरोपराणि
Tata sarirani vihaya jirnani.
तथा
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 शरीराणि
शरीराणि विहाय
विहाय
जीर्णानि
Anyani samyati navani dehi.
अन्यानि
अन्यानि
संयाति
संयाति
नवानि देहि.
Translation: as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Read the purport.
Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse 2.13. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body
Can
is
you be a
made.
little louder?
Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad as well as Shvetashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to two different friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjun is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another, or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body. But as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.2 and the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.7 confirm this. समेन वृक्ष पुरुषो निमग्नो नित्यश्च नित्यश्च शोचितमुह मनः जुष्टं यद पश्यति अन्यशं यस्य महिमानम् इति वीतशोकः. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with the anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in same way or the other he turns his face to his friend and Lord and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him, and thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reaction from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reaction and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, very nice analogy directly given by Krishna in the verse itself. How a person is changing, puts on a new garment. If you take Bhagavad Gita book, if you have a printed copy, you all should have. And in that, you can see that a person, he is putting the boy, a boy will be, a picture of a boy will be there. Then he's zipping up his body like a shirt, zipping up. Like we have a jacket, we'll zip up the jacket. The same way, the boy will be standing there zipping up. Like this, there's a nice picture. So as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. For example, you get up in the morning, take bath, and then you change your dress, right? You just, or in the evening when you come from work, then what you do? You change. So you give them the old one, it has to be washed or whatever, then you wear the new dress. So same way, the soul also just changing the body, the person is remaining the same, only the dress is changing. So, but change of body by atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Given the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous change of the body. See, the scientists are not accepting the existence of the soul. They don't believe in it. They say that just a lump of chemical is there. But if you ask how the chemical is transforming, the small baby was there and the baby has become a small boy. How this transformation has happened. But they don't have, they are accepting there is a change. There is a continuous change of body, which is called growth. It will appear from childhood to boyhood, from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old. So there is continuously the body gets changed. We are seeing the body getting changed. So from old age, the change will be transferred into. So similarly, the same sloka is also there. Dehino asmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tada dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. So this sloka we saw already earlier. We saw this sloka. Kaumaram yavvanam jara. Kaumara yavvana jara. So Kaumara is Kumara, young boy, and Yavana, youth, and Jara is old age. So the same way, when at the time of death, changing into another body. That's all. Already we are changing from one body to another. The small body, a baby body which you had in the lap of your mother as a 2-month, 3-month-old boy, that is not there now. Totally everything is changed. So you're having another body right now. But because it was changing gradually, you didn't understand, you didn't realize. But every day, from previous day, today's body is different. So this has already been explained in the verse. This is what is the verse 2.13. That is this sloka, I think, also is a memory sloka. I'll put you the reference in the group, and in second chapter, you memorize. Not much, maybe 2 or 3 slokas are there, or maybe more, 4 or 5 are there. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible. How it is going from one body to another? It's not going, it is leaving the old body and taking up a new body. And that is possible by the grace of the soul. Super soul, sorry. So Paramatma. The Lord is only fulfilling the desire of the atomic soul. There is one verse, Ishopanishad, 8th verse of Ishopanishad. If you see, the Lord is fulfilling everybody's desire. The self-empowered philosopher, the Supreme Lord, who is fulfilling the desire of everyone from time immemorial. Very nice verse, Ishopanishad, 8th verse. From time immemorial, he is fulfilling the desire of everyone. So based on what consciousness you had during your life, you will have that memory during the time of death. And during the time of death, you have a best friend within your heart. And the super soul, he will fulfill the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. He is the Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Nyatvam Rachantim Richad. He is the best friend. So he will fulfill the desire. If somebody is desiring so much to eat meat, okay, fulfill the desire, you get a tiger body. It depends what one is desiring and in throughout his life and what actually his consciousness will be fixed on what he did throughout his life. And who makes the decision? Who? The super soul fulfills the desire of atomic soul. So Mundaka Upanishad, Svetaswara Upanishad is comparing the soul and the super soul are two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. So you should never think that, oh, why is sometimes when we ask very basic question, then everybody answers, why is the body moving? Because there is soul, because there is soul. Okay, fine. Then why are you living? Why you are conscious? Because there is soul. No, the body will not act on the instruction of the soul, because soul is not the master of the external energy. We already saw the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego belongs to material energy. And the material energy is inferior energy. But still, the material energy is the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Achintya Shakti is one of the Achintya Shaktis. So this Shakti, external energy of matter, acts on the order of the Supreme Lord, not on the order of the soul. So never ever think, oh, soul is there in the body, that is why it is lively. Of course, but soul is accompanied by the super soul always and every time. Because without the sanction of the super soul, nothing will happen. Everything happening is by the sanction. If somebody wants to kill someone also, super soul sanctions because that person desires so much. Okay, undergo the punishment. Sometimes he doesn't sanction. He goes, tries and try. I tried so many times, it's not happening. I tried so many times, it is not happening. Not sanction, go. You try and try and try, not sanction, go. So your trying will not do anything. Self-confidence, oh, everything is possible. The universe is answering. Whatever you desire, the universe will give. What nonsense is that? So by an individual soul desiring, nothing will happen. But the desire, the Supreme Lord decides to fulfill the desire of that particular soul. So even the next body is awarded by the super soul. Even the remembrance and forgetfulness. For example, when you go to the next body, you forget totally about the previous body. So sometimes even an enemy may be born in a particular family. Like one time there in Bombay, when Prabhupada was there, I don't know whether it's in Bombay. One person, very, very wealthy man, businessman, he brought his son. So he became friendly to devotees, and the devotees said, come and meet Srila Prabhupada. He will give you some blessing. I want blessing for my son. I want blessing for my son. He's not the handicapped. The boy is not handicapped. He is like is mentally retarded child. So he behaves like a very young age boy, even though he's grown up. So he's mentally retarded. So the businessman, generally the businessmen, what they do, they want blessings and blessings and blessings. And they will go on and enjoy and multiply the money or family. This is their routine, especially in Western India, where they are mostly business oriented. The entire mentality is like this only. So in most of the places, but especially certain places, the business mindedness and multiplying, this is only. So he brought just for the blessings. So the devotee said, okay, come and get blessing from Srila Prabhupada, you meet him. So then they brought a very nice businessman. So the businessman brought his son to Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada just spoke with him for some time. Okay, it's like that, you're doing this business. He didn't even look at the boy. Then again and again, the devotees were saying, this is his son, and he is mentally retarded. He has this issue. Oh, okay. Prabhupada never blessed, never did anything. So then that person, after speaking for some time, he went away. After he went, then they informed Prabhupada also, before that man came, that wealthy businessman is coming. So they came, and then when after the man left, then they came to Prabhupada and asked, Prabhupada, this is the man we told, that boy was mentally retarded. Yeah, I saw. Prabhupada said, yeah, I saw. Okay, you didn't bless Prabhupada. You didn't bless him or tell something about him. No. This man, in last life also, he was a businessman. These both were partners. And this man has cheated him so much and taken all the money, the father guy. So much money he has cheated in the business from the other partner. Now the same partner is born as a son to snatch away all the property without working. So the child will act, the boy will act as if he doesn't know anything, but the father will be taking him everywhere. He will be serving him. He will be doing everything like a king without working. Not a king, king will works. But he sits there doing nothing. But the father has to serve and serve and serve. And father will be worried and worried and worried. Because the partner was worried in the previous life about the money. Now the father may not worry about the money, but he'll be worried about the boy. In this way, even an enemy or a business partner can be born as a child to a person. So if the persons remember the previous life, then there will be a great calamity. Oh, you are my enemy, and the child in the womb itself, like Kamsa, he want to kill. As soon as he came to know that the child of he was taking the chariot very nicely for her, for his sister's wedding. He arranged the wedding very elaborately, nicely, and he was driving the chariot, my sister. And as soon as it was told that her son, eighth son, will kill Kamsa, the moment he wanted to kill Devaki, his immediate sister, and he took the sword, that very moment. So the forgetfulness is also brought. So the Lord is bringing the forgetfulness also. So there are two friendly birds which are sitting in the heart. So always you should remember, I am not alone. I am always with the Supreme Lord. And whatever I'm thinking, Lord is able to hear it very loudly, sitting within my heart. Understanding that I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul, I'm full of life. The body is dead body, but I am full of life. Because of me, the body is irrelevant. That is one thing. And I have my best friend. And he has accepted as best friend, but I am not accepted, maybe. So he's sitting always 24 hours within my heart. Every time you change the body, he comes with you. The same. And we need not share each other's Paramatma. Everybody has their own Paramatma friend sitting with them. The soul is always accompanied by the Supreme Lord. But the soul is desiring for some action. And the Paramatma is witnessing it and then he is sanctioning it. But he is not eating it. So two birds are sitting there. One bird is keep on eating the fruit. The other bird is simply watching or witnessing the activity. Like this is mentioned. So this two-bird example is given in many places. Vedas like Mundaku Upanishad and Svetatva Upanishad. This two birds sitting in a tree is given. The soul and the super soul as friendly birds sitting in the tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit, means karma. But the Krishna is not undergoing karma phala. Action and reaction and action and reaction. Of the two birds, although they are of same quality, one is captivated by the fruit of material tree. This tree is explained in 15th chapter, later we'll see. While the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird and Arjuna is the eating bird. So although they are friends, one is a master and another is the servant. And we forget this relationship. How he is the master and we are the servant. So this is the reason that forgetfulness is the reason that we don't get liberated, but rather we change from one tree to another, which is one body to another. The soul is struggling very hard in the tree of the material body. So here, Arjuna, like what is the success then? As soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the spiritual master, the Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender to Krishna's instruction. The subordinate bird immediately becomes free from lamentation. So the question may be asked, Supreme Spiritual Master is sitting within the heart. So why can't I surrender to him? And no, sometimes we have had the Paramatma within our heart for many, many, many lifetimes. And we have always disobeyed him. We have always disobeyed his instructions. Like first instinct. Lord will give the first instinct. But we disregard the first instinct and we think we ourselves to be very intelligent and we make our own decision, despite the decision is given by the Supreme Lord. This we have been doing for many, many lifetimes. So, not just now. Many, we are so much used to disobeying the order of the spiritual master sitting within the heart. So now, how do I know what to do, what not to do? So I require spiritual master. The same Lord within the heart is expanded as spiritual master outside. Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Sastrair. We say Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Sastrair. Uktastata Bhavyatayeva Sadbhi. We are singing. Sakshat Hari. Empowered Shakti Avesh by the super soul. The super soul is present outside as spiritual master. And now he is guiding us. Because anyway, and sometimes we become mental speculators and say that Paramatma inspired me. So we may get cheated by ourselves and we may lose track of the entire life. We'll lose the life. It's not a comedy that I'm time passing. I'm time passing in Krishna consciousness. No, you cannot time pass in Krishna consciousness. The reason is it's a serious issue that this lifetime is very short and we may leave the body, and now we have the opportunity of performing devotional service, knowing Krishna consciousness, knowing more about Krishna, understanding Krishna consciousness philosophy properly, so that this wealth of knowledge will be there within the soul. Although the two birds are sitting in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruit of the tree. So sometimes we eat bitter fruit, sometimes nice fruit, happiness and sorrow, another body, another body, another body, another body. But at any particular point of time, that particular bird, he turns his face towards the Lord to know his glories. At once the suffering bird becomes free of all anxieties. Very excellent. Very excellent. Any suffering we have is because of Bahirmukha. Bahirmukha means turning away our face away from Krishna. The minute we turn our face towards Krishna, that moment all the sufferings and anxieties are gone. Now the question is how to turn my face towards Krishna. The primary thing is to know his glories, chant his name, Sravanam Kirtana. Ravanadi Kirtanat, know his glories, especially from pure devotee, spiritual master. If you come to know the glories of the Supreme Lord, at once he becomes free from all anxieties. So now, before Arjuna was looking outside, he was looking the army. Everything gave fear and anxiety. But right now, he has turned his face towards Krishna. And is understanding Bhagavad Gita from him. Thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord, free from lamentation. Krishna. So here, Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. Like they are really old. Anyway, they're going to die. They have lived enough. Yes, Dronacharya and Bhishma has lived enough. So don't worry. So earlier, sin will not overcome, we saw in the previous. So one by one, Arjuna is breaking, Krishna is breaking the reasons which Arjuna gave. Arjuna gave a list of reasons that we have already listed. Hope you have the document. I don't know whether you have put it in the group, despite being told. So this is a request. Just do it decently. And then it will be helpful for further. So here, we are going to take that document and we are going to write down in this chapter that what are all the counter points Krishna is giving for the reasons stated by Arjuna, and Prabhupada is elaborating in the purport that we can find for each of the reason which is given by Arjuna, a counter point is given by Krishna. Or, and that is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada nicely in the purport. Exclusively, Prabhupada is taking and showing. So Arjuna herewith by the Lord is asked not to lament for the grandfather and teacher. So he's told, how can I kill my grandfather and teacher? They are seniors to me. This is one of the reasons. Right? Now that is being broken. Throughout, we will see that one by one, Krishna will be breaking. So you should rather, there is a connection, as I told you, it's not chapter 1 and chapter 2. Even though chapter 1 and chapter 2 written by Vyasadeva, It's actually a simple casual conversation between, of course, it became serious when Arjuna accepted Krishna as a friend, but still it's a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna on the war field. We should understand it's a continuous conversation. So you should rather be happy to kill their bodies because it's an old body, let they kill. And all the reactions from various bodily activities which they did, even they didn't support the Panchapandavas, and there may be some, maybe clarity. So all that will be cleared also. So one way lay down his life on the sacrificial altar or on the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reaction and promoted to higher status of life. This one point is very, very important for us to understand. Some people, this statement of Srila Prabhupada gives us a big vision. And of course, the detailed knowledge is there in other books like Bhagavatam. A detailed knowledge of this is given. You should understand that in earlier times, during the sacrifice, they used to offer animals in the fire. So it is not there burning to ash. No. It's being offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now the question is, how can somebody throw some horse inside the sacrifice or a cow inside a sacrifice? So some people took advantage of this nonsense, advantage of this wonderful activity, and they created nonsense by continuously performing this yajna for eating meat, saying that it's yajna prashadam. That is banned. That should be abandoned. But here, very clearly, the reason is mentioned: one who lay down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield. For what? At once cleanses of bodily reaction and promoted to higher status of life. Prabhupada mentions in another purport and some lectures that how the qualified brahmanas, when they perform yajna, they have some animals for sacrifice. They will be there. But it stopped in Kali Yuga. Totally it is prohibited in Kali Yuga because there is no qualified brahmana at all. There is Sudra, Sri. Sri is considered the most intelligent in Kali Yuga. Second intelligent is Shudra. Every man is Sudra. And third is Dvijabandhu, the relative of Brahmana, not the Brahmana. He is the least intelligent. This Prabhupada is mentioning. This is one of the sloka in Bhagavatam. So, that the purport Prabhupada is, the lecture Prabhupada is mentioning this. So, it is prohibited the animal sacrifice. But when there is a proper Brahmana, properly qualified Brahmana with a proper scriptural based yajna, when an animal is sent in, for example, if a cow is sent in the yajna, a Brahmana boy will come out. Like Draupadi, she came out of the fire, the yajna. So as a yajna prashadam. So the same soul, the soul of the cow, it will be cleansed of all sinful activities. Of course, it doesn't have much of a sin because it is in the form of a cow that is considered very pure animal, but still it is animal. It's not human. So certainly a Brahmana is higher. So a Brahmana will come out of the yajna kunda. The same soul will, not mother, not father. Directly the Brahmana will come out. The cow will transform into Brahmana and Brahmana body, and that cow will have all qualified Brahmana will come out. Very powerful. These sacrifices which are mentioned in the scriptures, when it is chanted by qualified Brahmanas. Supreme Lord Vishnu is satisfied by yajna. So is another name for Vishnu is also yajna. But there is no qualified Brahmanas now. So there was no cause of Arjuna's lamentation. So when an animal is put in a sacrificial altar, anybody who is put in a sacrificial altar based on the scriptures properly, then he is cleansed of bodily reaction and promoted to higher status of life. Every death is a new birth, will lead to a new birth. Every death. And every birth will lead to death. That also another sloka in another, within this chapter, we will see another verse also. That anybody who is born is sure to die, and anybody who is dead is sure to be born again. Like that. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Yeah. We will be finishing one question I can take, or you can put it in the group or private message me. Some of you have messaged, I didn't find time to answer. So give me some time, please. We are into some project, so there is not much of a time. We'll see. And yesterday there was a question about a very nice question Akarshak asked, but I don't want to prolong more than 8:30, sorry, 9:30, 9:35, 40, because you all have to chant, and Guru Maharaj now recently has been insisting on chanting. And he has prayed special blessings for all his disciples to pick up the chanting again. So these prayers the Guru Maharaj has done especially, and he has spread this blessings. That is the latest happening here in Mayapur. So all of you should take very seriously the chanting in the morning. And now new empowerment is coming from Guru Maharaj. Of course, due to the after Corona and the schedule of Hitar and Ditar situations, our chanting would have gone Hitar and Ditar. But right now is the right time to pick up our chanting very nicely. So it's a very favorable situation. So me and Prabhu are following Guru Maharaj's instruction like anybody else should do it. So we are winding up early everything. So yesterday I wanted all of you to be there because but still I felt that it will go long and long and long. So I just cut off. But in YouTube it's there, you can listen. But the crux of the question and answer I'll tell you. Akrishak Prabhu was asking about the change of the change a soul will undergo. But if Krishna says it's final for a devotee. So Krishna says it's unchangeable, which actually means it's unchangeable only. That's all, full stop. There's no argument because Krishna is saying. Supreme Lord is saying he created the world, he created the bodies, he created the material world, and we are part and parcel of him. And he knows the best of what is. It's Abhijna Swarat. Krishna is all knowledgeable. And when Krishna says, there is no question of arguing against, no, how it is changing only. Krishna is telling lie. Which actually means when we say that Krishna, when we are saying that no, anyway it undergoes change, Bhagavad Gita has contradictory ideas. Krishna is changing his own words. It's not absolute truth, which means we are questioning Krishna's absoluteness. So it is, we should accept the Shastra as it is the lesson which we learned in the introduction to Ishopanishad. There is no need for research. Because it's already proven fact. But it can be proven also. It can also be proven. It doesn't mean that it cannot be proven. It can be proven. But one should not waste time in researching and doubting and thinking it is having contradictory. Maybe we didn't understand, but we feel contradiction. So the one contradiction he brought in was very nice contradiction. That there is a change in the spirit soul, that it is in the material world, it is in the forgetful state. And when it goes to spiritual world, it is in the unforgetful state. So this change of state, I said that it's not possible. The change of state may happen, doesn't matter. But forgetfulness is there in the soul. Then he asked when somebody has told him that when the soul goes to the spiritual world, he will never have forgetfulness. Like that. Or maybe he misunderstood. Somebody taught him 15th chapter, some sloka, in which he is telling the spiritual world description is there. And he told that the spirit soul will never forget. Forgetfulness will go away from spirit soul. It will become all perfect. In this material world, it's imperfect by having forgetfulness. But no, that is not true. Even in that is why at the end I clarified. And a soul which goes to the spiritual world will never return back. That's also both the points were wrong because the understanding is wrong. Both the points, understanding is wrong. That what is that? A spiritual personality can always come into the material world, like Prabhupada is coming, or Guru Maharaj is coming, or anybody like Garuda Dev is coming, and like Yashoda is coming, and Nanda is coming along with Krishna for some purpose and some service. They can come and go. But the permanent home is spiritual world. Once you get a permanent home, nobody will go to the temporary home. For example, you're in the rented building. So somebody says that, or you're sleeping in the road. Somebody may say that, oh, if you get a own house, you need not sleep in the street, or you need not be in the street. So the person goes, that is the statement which is told. And the person goes and gets own house. But When he is walking in the street, oh, how he came into the street. Once you got a own house, you need not come to the street. No, like that we cannot say. So he is free person, he can come. He owns a house now, but he is free. It's not conditioned. Now we are conditioned. If I want to go to America, if I want to go to heavenly planetary system, I cannot go because I'm conditioned. But Narada Muni is unconditioned. So the example which was taken was Narada Muni. He was unconditioned. He can go into spiritual world also, material world also. He has got a transcendental body. His body is not made up of earthly elements or the whatever the material elements. He will, so he can travel. This example. And second is the forgetfulness of the soul. Is there in the material world. When he goes to the forgetfulness, it's gone. It's not acceptable. The soul has a tendency to forget. It is as the characteristics of the soul, and in the spiritual world, Yogamaya potency will make him forget, and in material world, the Mahamaya potency is forgetting. So, in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha, there is a knowledge about the supremacy of the Lord, but there is no forget. And there also there is forgetfulness of Krishna, but remembrance of only Narayana or opulent aspect of Krishna. But when you go to Goloka also, all the devotees in the Goloka are made to forget Krishna so that they can play with Krishna. Otherwise, they won't play. Your Supreme Lord, and they will keep on be offering obeisances and arati and obeisance and arati. It will be boring for Krishna. So, forgetfulness is given by Krishna, that they know Krishna as a person, as their village boy, but they doesn't know his supremacy. So, purposely, he is making them forget that. So, the spirit soul is forgetting that. So there also forgetfulness is there. We are full of knowledge even in this material world. We are just being covered. Just being covered. And when you remove the covering, you'll just know everything. And the spiritual master is there to remove the covering. Like we have a cataract. Just the covering. Take the covering out. Like one item is covered. What is that? What is that? You're asking. A package is coming from Amazon. And as soon as you open, the item is there inside. Only there's a covering. You remove the covering. The item is as it is. There's no change in the item. So we should understand, if Krishna says there is no change, then here also we saw it's immutable. It doesn't have a change, which means it doesn't change. It has certain characteristics, and the characteristics remain eternally. Okay, this is the answer of his question. Short. Okay, time up. Any more question? If possible, I'll answer now if it's a short one. If it's a longer one, we can stay back, others can go, and then they can listen in the YouTube. 5.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Rishi, I'm Rishi. Just one question. How soul transfer from one body to another body?
That is what we
stay in the,
That is what Paramatma is the one who is carrying, who is coming along with it. And we also saw Pana, Apana, Udana, Samana, Vayus in the previous purports. We saw that where the soul is floating, there are airs. Pranavayu, Apanavayu, Udanavayu, Samanavayu, in which it is floating, and then through that it is getting transferred to another body, transmigration of the soul with the subtle body. The gross body dies and the subtle body is carried along. There is a specific slokas also related to the transmigration of the soul. And because of the order of the Paramatma only it is happening. If a person, Rake Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rake Ke. So this is mentioned that if somebody like was, which is the Rishi who wanted to die, he never died. He's tried to commit suicide. No.
Brahma says.
One Rishi, he wanted to commit suicide because he was chastised by another Rishi, kept on chastising. So what happened? Vasishta, he wanted to die. So he went on top of the mountain, he committed suicide, and anywhere he goes, he never died. The body he tried to destroy, he smashed it, went to the top of the hill and fell down. And still he was alive. Like, for example, take Guru Maharaj, his body is completely condemned, but he is alive. Some people, we think only youth people will live, old age people will die. Not like that. Some persons who are young, they died. So it is not that Krishna, Rake Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rake. So there was an accident. And in that accident, certainly a person would have died, but he lived. And sometimes there was no disease, nothing. A person was very young. Suddenly one day he died. Oh, he had an heart attack. He died like that. So Krishna is the one who is deciding. The final authority is always and every time. Everything is under the control of Krishna. We should know that Krishna is the only supreme controller in material and spiritual world. Never think that in material world, we are the controller. So the transmigration of soul, even if a body is condemned very well, still the Paramatma decides the soul should stay within, the soul will stay. And in case if the body is not condemned, it's very fresh, but still if Krishna decides enough of this foolish person's sinful activities, let him get out. Then he'll get out. The soul has to get out. Vacate the home belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the owner, we are in the rental home, that is our body. Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate, Rishika Isa. So in the first chapter, we saw Rishikesha being mentioned 4 or 5 times by Arjuna. So all the senses, all the body, everything actually belongs to Krishna only. We are temporarily resident there just to enjoy the senses, and that has to be done in an authorized way also. If it is not done in an authorized way, still we are stealing the owner's property in the body. So transmigration of the soul is very, very simple. It is by, there is a scientific process with which the soul travels. And there is other agents like Yamadharma Raja and his servants. There are many agents involved in it. And Prana, Apana, Samana, Udana Vayus are there, in which it is floating. Then the air will leave the body. The Prana is gone. They say the Prana is gone. So that the Prana Vayu is the carrier wave of the soul. And then based on the previous activities, desires and consciousness, he will be destined to another body. We will be seeing it in detail later chapters. Later in this chapter itself, we'll see. And later chapters will have elaborate understanding, very clear understanding.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any other questions? Or already time up, I think. Park your questions or post it to me or in the group. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Kripa
sindhubhya
sindhubhya
eva cha
patitanam
patibhyo
pavanebhyo
vaishnavebhyo
vaishnavebhyo namo
namo
Vaishnavabhyo
namah.
Namo
namah.
Namah.
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय,
Jai.
Jai.
प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु
Jai.
महाराज की जय,
Jai.
निताय
Jai.
गौर प्रेमानंदे।